Hey everybody, I finally have him. I finally have a Kelley Jones style, sure enough, custom. I had an older one that was made from a DC Direct figure. But this one's posable. This one is a McFarlane. This one is more in keeping with what I'm after for my Kelley Jones Batman. As I say, this guy is eared up and caped out. That's a nod to a good friend of mine named Jim. Jim and I used to talk about Batman comics in the early days of my utter enthusiasm for Batman, just a little after the 89 movie came out, early 90s. We were good buddies and reading comics. And in those days, this guy came out, Kelley Jones. He was out there drawing Batman comics, and this particular one is the Troika, one of the Troika covers by Kelley Jones. You can see his ink style in the extreme Batman. Now, I would say you could argue he is gray and black or gray and blue. I mean, and, you know, you can go either way, and they'll probably, McFarlane may release this guy in multiple colors, but I kind of like this black, all black figure. It sort of harkens to the 89 movie, which, again, is, you know, it's my favorite look. That, and in a lot of ways, the Batman Begins Batman. But I love the ears, man, and there's something, this ain't your daddy's Batman. This ain't the happy Batman of yore. You know, come on, Robin, let's go get him, you know. This is a grim, gothic, vampire hunting, criminal pummeling, angry badass, you know. And his cape is alive. It's like, it makes me think of a lot of the pulp sources for Batman. It makes me think of the Shadow. It makes me think of, I don't know, just a sort of a time when I was into Batman and it was just free. I was just having a great time with it. I did a little bit of work on the figure. I touched it up and sprayed it a little bit. I brushed on some highlights on the body. I really thought about going multi-tone, like a gray on the bodysuit and leave the black parts, you know, the usual black parts black. But I just fell in love with the all-black body. I just liked the way McFarlane did that. So I did repaint the face. I got in there, and I always, on the white eyes, I touch them up a little bit where they've got a little more angst. Put a little pink around them. Hit a white spot in the middle like there's an eye in there. Just angry. Work on the teeth. If he's got a grimace, I love grimacing Batman. And like gnarled hands. Again, that's kind of, gnarled hands is sort of the trademark of, you know, Kelley Jones. That's his style. But the thing, when you think Kelley Jones, you think ears, and you think all this cape. And I said, yeah, I want a cape on this bad boy. So I made one way too big, and I love it. It's almost a cape for a 12-inch figure almost. And I made long, deep cuts, you know, long points in it. One or two more than normal. I think there's normally a center point and maybe 4 points to the corner, so it's like fingers. This one maybe is 5. I don't know that I went too crazy with it. Sometimes they do that. They go really wacky and there's lots and lots of points. But I knew I was going to be wiring the cape, and I only wired the outside edge. I just didn't, I'm not confident enough. I can't sew, so I'm not confident enough to, you know, like wire the parts of the cape that they're going to have the other points, which would have been cool. But I had some really great leather material, pleather there, and it matches exactly the color that McFarlane had painted the figure. So let's see, let's do a little turn around here. I want to turn him where you can see him from another angle. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's Batman. We're going to move this out of the way. Let him have all the glory here. That's Batman to me. It's this big gothic beast of a man, you know, that's an image, almost what you see in your mind if you're a criminal, you know, the id monster Batman that comes after crooks. You know, and just, what if you walked around the corner into your kitchen one day and this guy was standing there, you know, a full, like 7 feet tall, 6.5, 7 feet tall, scare the living crap out of you. You know, you see Gordon in the thing, all of a sudden this guy's waiting for him. You're like, oh, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I like Batman with 1 foot in horror. That's kind of what it is. And this is definitely that Batman. There's 1 or 2 others that have been in comics. I mean, you know, long hair, short hair, tough, big, brawny, thin, slender. You know, I think Tim Sale. I think, you know, so many Batman artists over the years that have done gothic Batman. But this one's always stuck with me. I've always liked, you know, this seething Kelley Jones Batman. It's just, that was an era I really loved collecting comics. Did a simple work on the neck, heated and removed the head, heated and removed that little neck piece, left the neck, there's a kind of a neck joint thing underneath the cape, and I scalloped out, I actually dremeled out a bigger bowl. Think about the neck post is in there with a kind of a bowl around it, and I widened the bowl, left the neck post alone so that the head would attach back on. It doesn't have a posable double joint neck. It's got the solid neck, you know, all the way up. But this time it didn't bother me. I said, okay, I'm all right with that because it goes down deep into that neck hole. But to get my cape, when I made my cape, I ran my wire and it ran right across the front. You can see the flat straight across the front. So what I did was I cut a kind of a cross pattern about half an inch into the edge of the cape, and I cut a double cross pattern in it that you could lay the points down into the bowl, because I had widened and deepened the bowl anyway. I even dremeled it out a little bit so that there wouldn't be a conflict with the head post. And then when I took my glue, I usually use super glue, and I said, no, what if I screw it up? So I used fabric tack. I use this a lot. Fabric tack is that's how I seam my edges, and I use really fine wire. I use a piece of this is like telephone line wire, and you go in and you break down a telephone line, and it's very thin, very small wire, very, very small wire, but it's strong and it holds its shape. So, you know, get that out of the way. Come on, this wire, it bends. So that made my edge, and I folded my edge over with my fabric tack glue. Kept it clean, kept it as clean as I could. Kept it simple, 1 long wire all the way along, from one end to the other. It's 1 long wire. And then, like I said, I had cut my pattern. It was kind of it was like a double, an X and then an X, and the points of that fold down into the cavity. So I glued them down with fabric tack, and then glued this plastic piece down on that with super glue. I just pushed that down hard, covered the front edge. It kind of sets in that front edge there. It's fairly simple actually to do. And of course, repainted the head. I trimmed a little off the front bottom of the neck. You can't even see it, so that it would snap in there good and there wouldn't be any conflict. Then I heated it and popped it back on. That's it. That's all the work I did. But I think the cape and the ears alone take this from, you know, the McFarlane standard with that little chintzy cape. I mean, the cape he came with, yeah, you know, that's the cape. That was it. That was all the cape he had. It's wired. You know, thank God he's wiring capes. But this guy here, I'm sorry, he deserves what you see. So that's it. I'm kind of getting redundant here. I just want to give you a little bit of what I did. You can see how there's a little gray look to the bodysuit. It's not black. See how the base is black. He's really dark gray, even the cape. Really dark gray. And that pretty much, you know, makes the look for it that I want. I'll give him a shadow here a little bit. So that's my Batman. That's my favorite comics Batman. And you can, from that you probably can see what I like in any of the movies. So you go from there. Big thanks to my friend Jim. Big thanks to Kelley Jones, DC Comics. The audio you're hearing is from Ambient Cinematics. It's called Meditating with Bruce Wayne and Batman. Music and ambiance. I like them for background for this. So this is a Batman attitude video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll be back with more stuff. There aren't a lot of comics, Batman versions left for me to get into, so I don't know what I'll do. It depends on what McFarlane releases that I do get. Looking forward to Batman Returns, the set, and we'll see what we do there. Otherwise, have a great day, take care, and we'll see you in the shadow.